Bam! What is up with the squad? It says your favorite auntie and Uncle Tennessee's back like I never left, but this time I bought political Lil. Y'all know what it is. It's tea time, baby. It is tea time, tea time, tea time, tea time. What is good? What is good? Coming in the door. Y'all hit the like and the share. They both right there. Push this thing out. Let them know that we in here and we having this conversation right now. I see you over there. Talking with OC on Instagram. Appreciate you pulling up, fam. Make sure y'all check out Talking with OC on all your podcast platforms. Today, y'all, some of y'all done already watched the recorded video, and if you haven't, please go back and check it out. But Broken Skies episode 3, Chicago Sky Media and Black Bodies. Y'all, Cess Talk Sports, BY's Poly Sports Tea Time. Y'all know we serve the truth, piping hot. Pour it straight into the cold silence that protects power and punishes Black women in sports. This ain't soft talk, and the damn show ain't sanitized. We're not here for the box scores, stat sheets, glossy highlight reels. That's not what we're here about. We're here for the real game. The one that happens when the cameras cut, the lights go out, and the power players. Hold on, y'all. Just saying about Instagram. Crazy. And the power players start moving pieces in the dark. This ain't just about a basketball team struggling in the standings at all. This is about how power moves in the shadows, how media becomes a weapon, and about how unapologetic Black excellence gets labeled a problem the moment it stops playing nice. Chicago's seen this before. Scoop Jackson. Oh my gosh, one of my favorites. Scoop Jackson's Imperfect Union laid it out. City sports machine eats off Black labor. It just does. It cashes in on our brilliance, and then it flips on that same brilliance the second it dares to speak truth to power. So what's going down with the Chicago Sky right now? From Teresa Weatherspoon getting fired out of nowhere to the calculated targeting of Angel Reese Chennedy Carter. It's not coincidence. It ain't a coinky thing. It's a damn playbook. And today we're gonna put the receipts on them. We're gonna break down how the front office hides behind the press. We're gonna expose how narratives get built to protect the people at the top, and we're gonna show how the women in the crosshairs are being framed in real time. And it's bigger than the WNBA. It's every Black woman navigating white control spaces in sports and beyond. And you already know I'm not riding solo. Rolling with me, y'all know who it is. My partner in truth, the historian of the hustle, the one who brings the facts, the history, and the political edge, political Lil. Let's open up this and tell the people what's really going down in Chi-Town. What's up, Lil?
All right, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for coming in. And, we appreciate you all listening and giving us a chance to explain the politics of sports. You're exactly right, Auntie. What's happening in Chicago isn't just a rough patch for the franchise. It's really a case study in institutional playbook. So the move we've seen, the firing of a respected Black woman coach after one season, drafting for headlines instead of team needs, all the shifting the spotlight, onto the players, that's all strategic. And it shows how power protects itself while keeping the people most responsible safely in the background. So what makes this moment so important is that we're watching it unfold in real time. We're seeing how the Sky front office, who's been doing this a long time, so they're very polished, how they plant narratives in the media and how those narratives start to shape public perception and how they put a burden on the very player who are trying to keep the franchise relevant. And that's not just about basketball. It's really about control. Who gets the lead, who gets blamed, who gets erased from the table. So let me set the table. We're going to start by looking at how the Sky front office has zeroed in on one player, Angel Reese. And they used her early season numbers as a foundation for a larger deflection campaign that they always had planned. Because once you understand their framing of her, you'll understand how the whole strategy unfolds.
Okay, let's have a real talk. It was just me and you here. What's up, Kid High Life? What's happening, y'all? Appreciate y'all coming in. Hit the like and the share. They both right there. 5 of y'all share this thing out so they know that we here and what we're talking about. But this year, 2025, Jeff Pagliuca, the Chicago Sky GM, pulled a public hit piece on Angel. I don't know what to call it anything else but a hit piece. You hear me? He went on record urging her to step up and improve her consistency, pointing to stats like shooting percentage of turnovers. Ain't that something? Step up, improve your consistency. That's exactly what the organization needs to be doing, but I digress. On the surface, it looked like some routine feedback. In reality, it was a calculated move, and it should have happened kind of behind closed doors, not in public. But in reality, it was a calculated move to shift the conversation away from the real problem. Reese was the franchise star. She is the franchise star, leading rebounder, the one holding it down through coaching changes, roster gaps, locker room tension, whatever going on in Chicago. Reese is holding it down and putting on for the city. But instead of addressing the bigger issues, the GM took the time to make her the scapegoat. Instead of stepping up and taking ownership or saying, I need to be better, or we need to be better, or what we could do different, he threw her up under the bus. He singled her out and sent a clear message. Don't question the front office. Don't talk about the instability. Blame her. That was textbook deflection. It was a classic tactic to shield leadership in front of the player as the problem. If the audience misses it, they'll accept a skewed story that unfairly paints Reese as the issue instead of exposing the system that's been failing her and the team. If you don't believe me, take a scroll on social media to see how many hit pieces and op-eds and off base pieces are on Reese being a problem and tearing down everything good about Chicago. They out there, look at them. Lil, when a front office publicly critiques a star player's numbers like this, what's really going on behind the scenes? And can you break down how removing context from stats can be used to reshape the entire public conversation about a player?
You know, when you got a front office publicly calling out a star player, it's rarely about her performance. Behind the scenes, that's just a strategic move to redirect the blame from the management's own failures, you know, like poor roster construction or the coaching instability. And so you place the pressure on the players as, you know, the scapegoat. And this tactic is designed to protect leadership by shifting narrative so the player becomes the face of the problem instead of the system. Now, if you're taking stats out of context, you can kind of distort, the real story. For example, focusing only on shooting percentages or turnovers without considering team dynamics, like coaching changes, injuries, or just a lack of support. And that paints an unfair picture for her. So that kind of selective framing, that leads fans and the media to question the player's ability or her effort. And we've seen a lot of, you know, that going on, her energy, her effort, you know, but they ignore the external factors that impact the performance. And so it's just a powerful way to control the narrative and shift attention away from what they call systemic issues with that organization.
And these systemic issues been going on for forever.
2 decades.
Yeah, we're spinning for a second. And family in the chat, yeah, I want to hear from y'all. When management goes public with a player critique mid-season, do you see it as honest accountability or as a way to shift blame? Y'all drop y'all thoughts. Get in this conversation with us. 28 in the chat. Run them lights up. So I got to say this because I was saying that, you know, at one point they had won a championship. But at no point have they ever been a championship organization. They looked into a championship. Somebody stopped by and dropped the championship off. You know, they didn't figure out how to get one. And that's the truth of the matter. They can't get back to being a championship organization because they weren't a championship organization when they got the championship. That's the crazy part. They happen to look into it. Kai Copper and CP3 really helped them out. But you know, fast forward to now, they had hyped up that big three. Remember? Oh, Angel, oh, Camilla, oh, Kennedy. And then this year, they knew big three became Angel, Camilla, and HVL as the foundation for a winning future. And that's not a knock on HVL, but that's some type of drop-off from the big three that you were selling last year to the big three that you're selling this year. Mm-hmm. And the truth of the matter is the roster been missing key pieces, true point guard, consistent shooter, veteran leadership. And you can say that you bought that there, you know, is Sloop, but Sloop never should have been the main focus. Sloop should have been a cherry on top, or, you know, if we, you know, something in your back pocket, you know, if we needed to go to it.
A coach on the floor.
yeah, I like that too. Coach on the floor. But as the losses are piling up and the chemistry issues are showing, the front office, they ducking accountability. They shifted the blame to player execution especially targeting Reese, while sidestepping the real issue: flawed roster construction, bad personnel calls, textbook institutional self-protection. Leadership deflected criticism by pushing narratives that put the heat on players. Meanwhile, the system stayed intact, the status quo got stayed safe, and management stayed out of the line of fire. That's real interesting to me. Let me see here. It shift blame for me because a team is a team can't just blame one person, whereas everyone in the organization has accountability. In this situation, Jeff Pagliuca and Tyler Marsh are trying to shift the blame that they are joining the parade to put all the blame on Angel. Yeah, and it's like, dang, Tyler, you too, Tyler. I mean, we have practiced together. You see what's in here. But Leo, can you talk about how drafting for headlines instead of team needs can backfire on a franchise? What's up, Benzino?
Yeah, when you drafting for headlines, that means you picking players that create buzz instead of filling key roles needed for team success. That, you know, and that can lead to some imbalance, and then you see this kind of wayward team. You know, you try to dress it up kind of on paper, but then, you know, it just doesn't kind of pan out. I think even you know, sizing up last year, you know, you had so many pieces. Looked like from the way they was trying to run the offense, you had every piece you needed really was in the draft. But you just, you know, you refused to pick people. You were, you know, kind of drafting for you know, people not available yet. Somebody, you know, coming over here to walk the stage, and then on the next thing smoking, going home, you know. And then, you know, for you to draft injured players that can't help you now, that is contradictory to what you said you were intending on doing, and that's building a you know, a competitive roster to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Nothing you did in that draft room indicated, you know, at least to me, and maybe plenty of others, that was your intent. You look like you was rebuilding by your action, but your mouth was saying something else, you know. And so when things fall apart and they look raggedy, you know, you hurrying up trying to worry about saving your job and getting another chance to produce another loser of a season, because that's probably what's going to end up happening.
Exactly. You call what's happening with the sky narrative engineering. Can you break down exactly what that means for players, especially like Angel Reese this season? And why do you think the front office has been successful or at shifting the conversation away from their mistakes?
Well, you know, when you narrative engineer, you have a relationship with the media where you can call up beat writers, plant stuff. You can call up insiders. You can leak information. You know, you run out here and you putting hit pieces in you know, newspapers that the fan base gonna see. So you engineering your excuse, you know, to dive out of a situation, you know, that could easily cost you your job mid-season. If you really wasn't attached to the owners in that sense, you probably would have been gone. No question about that. If you just had a regular employer type of relationship and you produced this type of failure, you'd have been dust. You know, they would have gotten rid of you. You know, but because you somebody's boy, or you somebody's partner, or you somebody's special friend that has a power to protect and keep you, you know, you kind of got your job. But somebody in the office has, you know, set this young man down and told him exactly how to play the game, and he's playing it to perfection. You know, putting those kind of we call them sneak disses in the hood. But,
right,
but
sneak diss.
Yeah, that's what he's doing to Angel, Carmilla. He's done it to Ariel Atkins. You know, and just in a variety of ways. You know, one of the ways is, you know, getting on these social media platforms, people that allow them to, and use a third party to push narratives, that he wanna put out, and it's just psychological manipulation. So he's trying to manipulate the fan base into believing that they got some big plan, and all we got to do is just be patient, stop putting heat on them, stop putting pressure, stop asking questions, because the press wants access. So they're not going to ask the hard question because none of the little reporters want to get put out the room. So they're not gonna come and ask him honest questions. And then he gonna try to play the fans like it's a take it or leave it concept. Not with my money, and probably not with a lot of people's money. You don't come to a customer you serving a burger to and tell them it's a take it or leave it proposition, because most of them just gonna take their money and leave. That's gonna be the proposition, and this is what what we see going on. And people like, but that's kind of across all Chicago sports, especially when it comes to Black athletes. And I don't care what sport they play in. They have always been able to use our media, and they have been in a partnership with that media to, to narrative engineer anything they want the public or the fan base in Chicago to believe. And a lot of them take his hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, but Zeno, you say you get emotional every time you see Sonya Citron and Tahina Pow. We coulda, shoulda, but never, because of Jeff P and his imaginary AI version of a team. Definitely see some players that you missed on. But the other thing is, do y'all think they're feeling the pressure enough to not make the same mistakes the next time around? There's gonna be some talented players coming around. Let's go around. Will they be bold enough? Will they be brave enough to take those shots, or will they make the same mistakes? Have they learned their lesson? White Wolf, you say in a mix, it's a mix of both for you. As far as whether you want a roster, superstar, or roster balance, based on, you say we can look at how the Aces have been lately. Everybody's great, and Aces being a superstar. Everybody ain't great right now, but they playing better. Like, they playing better, and I can appreciate that. We getting healthier. I think the roster balance results in winning, having the right balance of players who complement each other, and the focus is on the team and not an individual can result in the team going far. Yeah, but I think I'm with you, White Wolf. I think it's a mix of both, because I think that balanced team gets you so far, and then you go, okay, now who's the superstar? Who's the difference maker? Who takes them over the hump? Who closes the show? Who gets it done? So I think it's a mix. Okay, Chicago Cheetah, you say you don't think this guy cares. You don't believe that they're going to make any fundamental changes.
I mean, if you look at the history of the organization, going back to its inception, and you look at the pattern of how players have come in, how they've used the media to, engineer, the players kind of coming and going. And I'm talking about superstar players that they've drafted. I mean, if you got a pattern running for 20 years, you got the same three people in place, which is Fox Alder and Miss Rawlins. If you ain't changed in 20 years, let me say this from a spiritual standpoint. My belief, only God can change the nature of a man. I believe you come here with a certain nature. Some people come here narcissistic, manipulators, people that don't care about other people, this, that, and the other. People come here with different natures. You got some people that are nurturers, some people with big hearts, this, that, and the other. These three people have been doing the exact same thing for 20 years. So what would what would make you think that they would sudden, unless they have some coming to Jesus moment, what would really make you think they're going to change? So even though I'm disappointed, I'd be lying if I said I was surprised, because I've seen the same pattern, happen over a period of time. I mean, they just, once you have a ability to use a media relationship, and you got selective information that you allow to leak, criticism on players and coaches instead of yourself, you're going to use the same thing. Each time you experience failure, and it seems like they enjoy experiencing failure and then going through the process of manipulating and fool. You know, it's like the song, "The Fool of People Is Your Only Thought." You know, and it just seems like this is a love affair. They seem to love what's happening. Because if you didn't love it, you would change. You would do something different. You would have a different respectability for people. If these people are acting in concert like that, then they totally satisfied, because it's just like a thief. Once you start getting away with it, you're gonna keep getting away with it or attempting to get away with it until some force comes in and makes you change directions. You get caught, this, that, and then some people get caught and go right back to doing it, this, that, and the other. I don't think, in my mind, I just don't, anything is possible, of course, but you think about the types of superstars that these people have had in their, these people have been, I'm talking about icons, I'm talking about legends, I'm talking about people that's up for, the Hall of Fame, and each one of them going through the same exact pattern that you see Angel Reese going through. Now, some of them got out of here slow, and some of them got out of here fast, and some of them sat out and would, refused to go on and on. So when you see this kind of pattern, come on. It's just like a bank robber. You're gonna keep robbing that bank if you've been doing that for a number of years until some force stops you and makes you pivot and change directions. And the way they got the media sucked up here, and the lack of education in terms of fans, you got to understand something. Everything they got set up is designed to not produce wins, kind of to sell tickets. Because Nadia comes out of the Live Nation, spectacle, entertainment, selling tickets. Might come out the real estate game. That's as cutthroat, man. You got to be cutthroat, to really be successful in that business. And I don't know much about Fox and his background, but I do know that he sat up there and did a PowerPoint presentation, a master manipulation class, to try to place the blame on players, for them not having proper work facilities. When you see that kind of stuff going on, you're not dealing with some people, you're dealing with people that, their deck is not really that full. They like playing. I think they enjoy. You ever heard of some men that will marry over and over and over again because they just like the process of dating, getting the girl to marry them, running down the aisle. Right,
not interested at all.
And they'll keep doing. I hate to say it, but we had a family friend that kept doing that. I was like, man, what is your problem? What's the problem with the woman? Oh, we just fell out. You working on marriage.
I ain't gonna hold you. After my mama, I felt like that's how my dad was. He got married a couple times. He was like, why? For what? I'm just being honest, man. For what? For what? I don't even look like it. Okay. All right, daddy. Man, why? Okay. You just go with it. But yeah. I don't know if that was like, you ain't got a chance to get that old thing back. You miss what you miss. You don't know what you got till it's gone. And I don't know if he was trying to chase, what he lost with my mother. But it was just like, hey, man, what you get from there? Man, you don't even, come on from over there, man. I know, but
you know what? It makes it hard for you to accept accountability when you keep repeating a behavior that don't really make sense.
Okay, man, don't do that. But I get it. And it's funny that you said that, because I look at them like people that's just playing business. You used to play business. You get your little pens together in your paper. You be signing like you were signing a contract and holding the paper up like signing on the X. That's what I feel. That's what I feel like be happening at the Chicago Sky office. Like they're just playing business all day. Just this would, when I sign my name, it's gonna look like this. You put that X and draw that line. You sign it. You sign it. They hold the paper up like you can't see what's up under. Yeah, we have time for that, bro. Like real business is going on in real life, right? Media seems to be on their side. They don't ever criticize the team at all unless they're lying about Angel Reese. Well, like Lil said, the media want the access. I would love the access, but with the access, you got to be able to accept the accountability, right? Listen, it's things. Everybody got stuff that I think that, if I could do it over again, I would have did it different. That was a casualty of war. If I knew better, I would do better. Being able to just be able to say, "Hey, I didn't know. I messed up. I get it now." And then being able to show up and match that with your actions goes a long way. And I don't think that the Chicago Sky have tried to step up and match anything that they've said out their mouth with their actions. And that's the problem. Like, what the hell are we talking about? I don't want that access if I gotta push bullshit. What is it? What is that worth for me to be pushing out stuff that people don't even believe, or that people are going to really push back on? What is that access? That doesn't give me it doesn't give me an exclusive. It doesn't give me any exclusivity if all I'm telling is some lies or just pushing out what you want me to say. It's not worth that, right? What we want to be able to have is real conversations. And so, like, when you look at the coaching change, even that was calculated. That was a calculated front office move. It wasn't routine business. Teresa Weatherspoon came in there, not only just a respected Black woman coach, right? She didn't just come in there. She came in a respected player development coach from the NBA. She came in a respected legend just in basketball. She came in a respected WNBA player. I believe is in a future Hall of Famer if she's not in the Hall already.
She's in the Hall.
I think or she just went, something like that, not long ago. So she comes in here with all of those accolades on her resume. She comes in here a brand on her own. Like this woman took one of the most historic shots in the history of this league. It's one of the ones that y'all, when y'all go back and show the shot, that's the one y'all show, and it was against my comments, so I've seen it over and over and over. But you fired her and said, you know what? We're gonna go out here and we're gonna get somebody that can win now, somebody that can step in here and get things done. And then you went in there and then you showed up with Tyler Marsh, and we didn't believe you. But the other part of that, I wonder for Tyler, what did you think taking the job? Right? Like, were you in a situation where you felt like, yo, if I don't take this job, I don't know if I get another chance at a head coaching job in this league? And so, damned if I do, damned if I don't. Should he have been like, hey, I saw how you just treated Teresa Weatherspoon, and I don't know if I stand a chance here with the way that my resume looks. But the firing sparked controversy. But the front office side stepped out of that, like, oh man, in the future, we're gonna win right now. We get somebody in to win right now. And now the season struggle starts stacking up, and they like, oh, you know what? It ain't Marsh. We still winning right now. It's growing pains. The thing is, like, y'all too old to be still having growing pains now. You 28 years old now. That's the problem of the whole thing. Y'all are too old to be having growing pains. You've been around too long. You've seen too much. You'd have won a championship. You'd have seen this league expand. You'd have seen it shutter doors on organizations. You see too much to still be in growing pain mode. At this point, all of the pressure and all of the eyes need to be on the Chicago Sky to either get it done or get out the way of ownership. Because just the way that you do business weakens the value of the WNBA. The way that you show up and do business in the WNBA every day weakens our overall value. Uh, 2010. Thank you, White Wolf. She went in 2010 for Hall of Fame. Thank y'all. Does failing benefit the owner in terms of some financial gain, or is it the incompetence of personnel in the front office? I don't know. How many times can you tell the IRS I ain't make no money this year, and they like, oh, okay. But you keep showing up with a new Benz and a new hat, and new teams, and more toys. You're like, I didn't make no money this year. But in the newspaper, you told everybody that I took $250 million from 3 teams to come into this league. And then the IRS is like, hey, got any taxes, any money for us? We ain't make no money. We ain't did nothing. Just it's a loss. I'm like, stop. No, I don't think so. Water's getting murky over there in that Sky front office. The whole play gonna be exposed if they don't fire Jeff and Marsh after the season. Last ranked offense and defense teaspoon they deserve. Yeah, the world's watching, but the thing is, what is the world willing to do? Because I was waiting on everybody to get. I was fired up when Teaspoon got fired. I was up. Remember, I was up here. I was waiting on the world. Like I thought we was gonna send some letters, emails, sign some petitions, something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm ready for the world to stop watching and get active. This is institutional protection at its finest. And then you give Marsh the limited resources and support, front office set him up to be the scapegoat, and he don't even know. So when the next shakeup comes, they're gonna quietly move him out, quiet as they brought him in, protect their seat to keep the blame off management. When can the city of Chicago turn the heat up on? I definitely wonder that. But Lil, why is it so common for struggling franchises to use the head coach as a shield for deeper organizational problems?
The coaches they the easiest targets because they're usually the face of the team performance. So when things go wrong, it's simpler for the front office to blame the coach's decision than to admit mistakes in the roster construction, draft choices, or the overall management. And so this is it deflects the pressure from those executives who actually hold the real power, while the coaches, especially new ones or less established ones, they take the fall. It's like a convenient scapegoat strategy that has the deepest systemic failure. And unfortunately, they've had 2 decades of practice, and they're great at it.
Lil, what does the way Marsh got hired and the silence around it, the quiet way they brought him in, tell you about the front office's long-term plan? And in what ways does scapegoating and an inexperienced coach distract from the deeper systemic issues within this management and roster building strategies of this team?
It kind of signals to me the way they kind of brought him in. The front office wasn't expecting him to lead a full turnaround. It was more about having a public figure to absorb that criticism when things went south. This lack of fanfare, that shows that they're protecting themselves. They're not invested in no long-term stability, because if they were serious about long-term stability, that wouldn't have been a hire that they made. You had a great core that had been dug out of Teaspoon's season. So if you was really serious, you'd have brought a serious coach, a serious strategy. You'd have moved your practice facility to something that was more professional. So what they gonna do with Twinkle Toes? He's an inexperienced coach. After you talk about, you don't know whether you rebuilding, you don't know whether you winning, and you looking like, oh, this is a rebuild, but I'm gonna take your money and tell you we about to win now. When you bring a coach in like Marsh, it diverts the attention away from a flawed roster and poor management decisions that's going on in that office. And it frames the problem. Then you could easily say, well, it's just growing pains, or, well, this kind of a coaching error. Maybe, it's a systemic issue. And it gives you another tool to avoid accountability. You don't have to answer the tough questions. Because I can't, I know Marsh came from the Aces, and everybody was, talking about he was some high-touted, development coach, and he had one over at, I think Toronto. He's with them when they had the Leonard, they won their little championship. But that's front. You didn't talk about what he was really doing. Developing a player is not developing a championship team. These are 2 separate things. And if his expertise was in developing a player, then you have to judge him on whether he can convert developing a player into developing a championship squad. it's a different thing. You know, if you come in, you're an assistant coach, and you sit in the back of the line, you ain't even a second chair, and you talking about oh, I help somebody with their shooting and all this kind of stuff. First of all, you don't have time to do that as a head coach. You don't really have time to individually, work with players and stuff like that. You become not a tactician, but a strategist. It's different. You setting up whole games. You setting up whole schemes. You don't have time to worry about, if somebody can bounce the ball 2 times going north, and so that just tells me that whatever their plans are for the future, they was doing something, kind of in between right now. Plus, there was no line around the door for people to come coach this in this system. Like
that's what I was gonna ask you.
No, there wasn't no line around though.
What good coach coming?
Let me tell you this: you had the coach over here at the Washington Mystics. Mm-hmm. He was in your wheelhouse.
Why he took some other people with him, didn't he?
Took some other people with him. Why didn't that man stay? And don't give me he wasn't offered the job, because I don't believe that.
The writing was on the wall.
Yeah, he saw how you operated. See, it's something different when somebody telling me, oh, this is how they run their thing, this, that, and the other. It's a different experience when I done seen you in action, and know how you roll. So, for him to leave, go to old, and then look at the draft choices he made, the success, that he's having with his group. This tells me right then and there, no, you got a raggedy front office. Because you had, and then another thing, let me mention this right quick. When Wade left the team, they had a losing record when Wade left in the middle of the season. Then you had an interim coach that took over, and he got them in the playoffs. And what happened to him? He was gone. Just a disappearing act. So either he saw something he didn't want to be a part of, and they just don't understand. With millions of eyes on you, they're getting to a point where people just don't want to deal with you. You shouldn't have your star player out there asking people, what did it take for them to come to Chicago, and they got some crazy answer like they need to fix up their apartments. And I was just like, what? It just blows my mind,
But think about that. Their basic needs ain't even being met.
That's what I'm saying.
To be able to show up and even be professional basketball players.
And that's what makes me think you have a plantation mentality. You see these young people as a commodity to be exploited and not to be invested in and taken care of. I mean, doing a stupid PowerPoint presentation about why you don't invest in them, not like you really had money to do so. Somebody had to give you $85 million to keep your lights on. It's just a bunch of silliness. Then you get out here on these platforms talking about you ain't got money to market your players. They doing the sympathy. Look, I've been around politics and politicians too long, and they out here like some politicians. Trying to run games.
Do these owners live in the city?
No, they do not. And I don't believe any one of them, to my knowledge, even grew up in the city. They don't. Their office is not in the city of Chicago. They don't. Even the facility they're building is not in Chicago.
How often do they come to Chicago? They don't seem very connected with Chicago. So I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Leo had said earlier what was going on there. I'm gonna tell y'all what it was. Straight up robbery. Came down there, polished. Hey, put together a nice presentation. It looked good. Had Kennedy Carter in it. Had Camilla Cardoso. Had Angel. Had energy, had people coming out, had people had social media buzzing, right? It was looking good. This what they rolled out there. Mm-hmm. They rolled it out there. People was like, yeah, I want some of this. I want more of this. I'm in, right? As soon as they got y'all money for them tickets, they took that commercial right off the air. They took that commercial right off there. It was kind of like when Fox, when I don't know if y'all old enough to remember when the Fox network really first rolled out. Oh gosh. Boy, it had all your favorite things on there. It had a show called South Central. Martin was on there. It was all kind of feel good. All kind of feel good. Seemed like it was for everybody. Then as soon as it got everything it needed to be a major network, all them shows fell off. Now it's Family Guy. If you like that, that's fine. And Bart's still there, right? Okay, never mind. But you see my point. You see my point, right? It happens all the time. It's a playbook that they don't want y'all to see. It don't matter the industry. It don't matter the play. The book works everywhere because it's baked into the systemic processes of getting to the success of anything in America. Since the team struggles began, they put that spotlight, locked it on Angel, like J Hud's new song, like Spotlight, like her old song. Dissected her performance and demeanor with a level of scrutiny I don't even think you ever see for rising stars. Like you would think the way that they talk about Angel Reese, you would think that she came in like as starstruck as like a Wembyama. Wembyama came in and listen, like him or not, Wemby ain't really done nothing that he was supposed to do since he got here yet. But they still giving him time. They still giving him space. They still giving him grace. Angel that got here and she did more than what the hell they thought she was gonna do. And they like she ain't did enough. Do more. Like goddamn, you expect that out that girl. WBC Dub Fox always uses black talent to gain a base audience. Oh, the C Dub was cold with it. They had some good ones. Homecoming, All American. Oh, the C Dub had some good ones.
The Book of Negroes. You remember that?
Yeah, the Book of Negroes. Hey, and then I had some good ones on there. And then they were like, "Yeah, you know what? We made it out of here, out of here." All American may be back, but they didn't make that. So I don't even know. I don't even know how that show got to where it's going. They don't even actually do business in Chicago. See, and that's a problem. But target outspoken black players who refuse to shrink or play quiet, and negative narratives around them don't just appear around out of thin air. It's deliberate around Angel. It's pushed through multiple outlets: GM, front office, social media, Chicago media, and they could conveniently skip over poor roster construction, shaky leadership, bad decision making, not even being a part of the city. I would say I've probably seen more pictures of Angel out doing stuff in Chicago than I've seen the ownership of Chicago out doing. Right, Parks and Rec, she out here trying to help out in the city. I don't know that I've seen Chicago Sky do anything in the city. Y'all that are in the city, let me know. I don't know. Do they give away backpacks? They got a back to school drive, an Easter egg hunt, a trunk or treat, any goddamn thing that they do for the community. Let me know. But the story becomes a neat little package. Blame the player, blame the coach, keep praising management. And that's how institutional power plays out. And that's why independent platforms are essential. Mainstream media ain't gonna tell you the truth about the narratives, but we will. We is exposing the media collusion and calling out the patterns. We give fans and athletes the receipts they need to see the truth and demand real accountability. We want y'all to be able to take the information and the data that Lil researches and produces to be able to go out and fight back, push back, get what's old. I'm hoping that somebody push these videos out enough for these players to see, hey, maybe you need to file a case. We out here. We want you to open up the books. Hashtag respect our game is a real thing. But Lil, how does media collusion with team management affect public perception of black athletes and coaches, and what are those consequences for those individuals?
When the media colludes with team management, it creates biased narratives. And they unfairly target black athletes and coaches, and they become easy scapegoats. But their mistakes are exaggerated, and their success is minimized. And so this not only damages their reputation, as in the case of a Teaspoon, but it also limits their career opportunities. I mean, what are the chances of her getting another opportunity to be a head coach? And it affects their mental health. It reinforces these harmful, ridiculous stereotypes, and it maintains systemic barriers to leadership and respect. It's really, really damaging on these players, that are coming here with the intent of trying to help the organization. trying to make the organization successful, going out of their way to spend money and invest in getting their skills together. I mean, Teaspoon had a whole off-season plan where she was going to get with respected coaches and, go over the films of each of the games and, take the chance of, even educating herself more. She wanted to improve. And if you turn around and, be that kind of cutthroat, it's just, people don't understand the damage. It's heartbreaking, and then a lot of people talk a lot of smack about, why I keep bringing up Teaspoon and this, that, and the other. You all have no idea, number one, that Black women are under severe attack in this country, and number two, you all do not understand how trauma is passed. When other Black women see other Black women getting, crushed like this, in front of everybody, getting humiliated and stuff like that, that kind of stuff, that overwhelms you, and it causes you to relive your trauma. I mean, I talk about Teaspoon a lot, and I think, like I said, Cess and I met as I was just livid, over what had happened to her. But it's because I've had a Jeff P in my life. I had a Jeff P in my career, most of my military career. And these underwhelming, type of people, they nasty, and ridiculous, and they can cause you what is called a lot of trauma, which can lead to sickness. I had a Jeff P experience and winded up in the hospital, just fried. And it's not exactly called. It's called like a vicarious trauma. So when I seen this happen to Teaspoon, and I'm looking at the character, that she had to deal with, it traumatizes you all over to see Black women publicly humiliated, shamed, or unfairly fired, or have they, careers interrupted and stuff like that. It can trigger a trauma response, and it's hard to see somebody discriminated against, marginalized, or treated unfair. And that's what we're seeing right now. People can identify with how Angel Reese is being treated. That shit hurt. And it hurts other Black women to see somebody who's trying to just be themselves, get knocked down and treated, it's already enough with all the other racist stuff that she having to deal with. You see these two Black women who had such promise in what they could have built, in that organization. And then you have some, try to keep the PG here, but some like Jeff come through, you had no idea. It's just a sadness, and witnessing that reinforces your own vulnerability to system injustices. And it deepens emotional wounds related to identity, powerlessness, and ongoing racial and gender biases. I mean, we out here trying to support this young woman, and we powerless to do anything. We were powerless to have the young lady Teaspoon be able to keep her job. And I grew up with Teaspoon. I'm old enough to have known her, and seeing her play, and how these women did, just to think about Black women that have struggled to keep this league alive, and then here come the money, and then you getting backslapped. I mean, that shit is demoralizing, and it contributes to anxiety, mistrust of institution, and emotional exhaustion. And that's what I believe that Angel is experiencing right now. The girl just got to be emotionally just exhausted. And so you have an urgent need for systemic changes and support networks, and I'm sure she checking on her mental health and stuff right now. But I'm not one that's gonna sit back and let a Jeff, a Fox, a Alter, or even a Miss Rollins. I'm not gonna let you slide. I'm gonna talk about this and talk about it till I run out of breath. You know, you might not change, but people gonna show know about it. I'm gonna educate everybody I can about how you out here operating in these streets. And I don't want any young lady. I don't want none of them young ladies that's getting ready to come out that college rank to come to this place. God forbid.
I mean, and it's one thing to critique and give your opinion on their basketball play, right? It's one thing to give a fair critique about their play. It's another thing to just make up whole narratives that ain't got nothing to do with basketball. Y'all to move. Sometimes they move the needle way away from even basketball. Like, she parked her car too far away. So, be just silly, dumb stuff. That they she can't be a good player. Let's see. Yeah, I seen it all winter and spring long. It was a lot of people talking dirty about Nola Henry coaching, her being a black woman. She was hurt, but won. Nola did a lot of growing right in front of our life, right in front of our eyes.
Oh yeah.
She won. She won it all. Fans played the ultimate role in pushing back against the media and poor run organizations because ultimately, collectively, we are the bosses. The only people media and organization have to respond to. Yeah, I mean, we have to definitely seize our power. You know what I mean, and use it. PTSD is valid in any sphere of life, especially when it's beaten into you. Oh, hell yeah. Power only responds to power. Collectively, we have power, and we do. It's really crazy to me that a young black woman going through what Angel does after experiencing her biggest accomplishment in winning a national championship. Oh, that made the hate even louder.
Right, that should have been one of the happiest, joy-fulfilling moments, because you think about it, you start playing as a little kid from 8 years old, and you reach the pinnacle, of college success. You had you're in a big league on a big stage. You got millions of people. That attendance at the time was the highest attendance. People watching.
Yeah, but the other thing you got to know though too, Lil, is the million people. You don't know what the million people are there for. I forget. I believe it was. I think it was Muhammad Ali. The lady walked up on him and told him, "I came seeing you at every fight, and I'm waiting to see somebody knock your ass out. Like, I am paying my money and showing up here, not to support you, but to see you beat down, to see you lose. Like, everybody that's showing up ain't cheering for Angel.
Yeah,
that's why
true.
I think it's important that we push back and let people know, like, we're here. Everybody that's in the arena ain't on our side. Now, they can act like it wasn't no monkey sounds in, the investigation couldn't figure it out. But the people that was in the building said what happened. A certain podcaster, to remain nameless, said Angel is quiet quitting while ignoring a certain Fever player. Everybody got time for quiet quitting. Quiet quitting. Listen, here's the thing. Like I said, she's a brand, number one. Number two, Candace Parker was the one that pointed out the WNBA is your summer job. Look like her main job, the one that helped pay her bills, is the one to pay $250,000 a year, and she got some equity in it. So, the minute, and as Coach Coleman would say, the minuet that they are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, shut down Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso. For what? They got other things to do. They got to get back to their real job, pay their real bills. Angel told y'all what the WNBA gave her last year couldn't pay the rent where she needed to stay. What is that? Think about that. She got to get to her real job. Ain't nobody got time to be fooling around with y'all that got hurt and can't even go to the playoffs. Nah, sit down. Sit down. They would sit down on you. Matter of fact, they've already sat down on you. They've already failed them.
Yeah. Sitting out there doing a hit piece on a second-year player, sitting in the earshot of the coach, out there warming up the troops. You're making everybody look incompetent, and you don't know how stupid he looking. You're looking like an executive. You're looking like somebody who got their job not based on their credentials, but based on their connections. That's what you looking like, and that's the only way you're gonna keep it. And there's not another ownership group in the WNBA that would hire a person like him. I mean, he's just ridiculous.
Leo, how does the media become such an effective tool for protecting the front office leadership?
You know, shit, scapegoating. You shift the blame away from those in power. It makes it easy to avoid accountability. So you just target them players, you target the coach, and they the cause of the failure. You know, that's just organizations protecting their leadership and their decision making, which is horrible. And it simplifies, you know, like complex issues into personal faults, you know, which the public can easily accept. And it keeps the real problems hidden and maintaining the status quo. I mean, it's just ridiculous, you know, that any fan, and I've seen some of them on these social media platforms, you know, that you would go along with Jeff lie. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's like, damn, you can't see you getting gaslit, and that this man is conning you, ain't told you, I mean, ain't put down one truth yet, doesn't have the ability or capability or personality, evidently, to even attract elite players to play with his stars. You know, that's him. He meeting people face to face. They looking at him like they want to spit up on him. You know, when you got a person that's non-relational, cannot form trust in relationships, all you're gonna get is mediocre players. A lot of them players on his roster, can you imagine them on any other team? or out the league? I can imagine most of them out the league. They are one foot out and 1 foot in.
He definitely should have made some different decisions.
Let me tell you something. These are not players people fighting over, fighting to get. You know, you picking up people that are available. You know, it's, you know, they got availability, and then you signing them like you signing some, you know, some major star. You know, you signing a Scottie Pippen to go with your Jordan. I mean, the man just absurd, and the organization. I just, for the life of me, I don't understand them. But like I said, they just not Chicago type people. You know, they out on the outskirts.
Here's the thing, Jerry Reinsdorf. You know, a lot of people may not like Jerry Reinsdorf, right? You may not have liked him, but he built winning teams. He built winning teams. Say what you want about him.
Yep.
He made unpopular moves that maybe made him unliked within the meetings. But everybody appreciated what he did when they collected on them 6 rings.
Like, yeah, that's true.
A lot, you know, like on the floor, it was about the players. But putting that team together, that was about him. Like, dude made some very unpopular moves to get to 6 championships. Jeff P, I don't know if he, you know, fancies himself a Reinsdorf, but he ain't moving like one. This is Chicago. They got lucky with Jordan and the '85 Bears. I don't think they got lucky. I don't think you get lucky 6 times in the NBA.
No, 6 times, not 3 in a row, and then like, 3 in a row. No,
like, you know, you send Charles Oakley away to go get a big that you was like, we don't even know about him. For him, in the Jordan, like, you know, but they made it work. Angel might as well sit down. They need to play Madden HBL 35 minutes a game. Might as well. Yeah, y'all want to like and the shares up. Trolls in the chat. So you both think they're leaving after this season? No, the cold part about this is they could try to force a trade, but y'all realize that, like, at the end of this whole thing, they could get cord and be in Chicago a 5th year. So it's gonna be interesting, like, who gets fed up first. I've been saying since last year that I felt like it would be Angel or Camilla that was sitting forced to trade. Nobody is really just set and forced to trade. Angel's brand probably says that she can sit and forced to trade. Camilla Cardoso's brand probably said that she could sit and forced to trade. He went on a campaign to prove he was better than Teaspoon and failed. Better than Teaspoon than what? Teaspoon is a hooper. Jeff, put your shoes on. Take the ball out. If you can't beat her at 21, get in the gym. Get back in the office, bro.
Yeah, Jeff came in here just like he is a puppet. He on the string. Twinkle Toes is dancing. It's just that simple. You know, he has done nothing that will make you think. and well, ask yourself this: of the, what is it, 13 teams? What other 12 teams would break their neck right now to buy Jeff out to get him? Name one.
No, I don't think nobody's coming for Jeff. But that also may be the reason that Jeff is in power, feels in power where he at, because people is looking like Chicago like they a mess. They ain't got no facility, they ain't got no GM, their front office is crazy, the ownership is wild,
instability.
Ain't nobody challenging it. I don't think that anybody is challenging him. Media is supposed to be the third rail, seeking the truth, but media is corporate, and corporate protects corporate. Oh yeah,
bought out, sold out.
Rebecca Allen Nurse, Sloop, old backup players who can't play a lick of defense. Would have been helpful off the bench, maybe. He got a quiet puppet. Well, listen, this team got a young, talented roster, and it's stuck under a GM that like just pretty much botched everything in the offseason. And the coach, I don't want to say that Tyler can't be successful. I don't know that he has the backing to be successful. I wish he'd just, be the first time coach somewhere else. But we got chaos building. The media is running interference for the people at the top and reinforcing bullshit narratives that take the heat off the leadership and the eyes off of the real issue and put it on some vulnerable targets who, just trying to do their job. Exhibit A, Angel Reese. She was once hyped like the league's future. And now every missed shot, every emotional reaction, everything she does gets magnified and spun into some kind of referendum on her value. And I think instead of them recognizing that she's carrying the weight of this total broken system and this broken team, they're twisting stories into whether she's living up to impossible expectations. Who even had them expectations for her? I don't know. And that's not analysis, that's an agenda. And Tyler Marsh, bro, you in the crosshairs and you don't even know it, bro. You need to look down. It's a red dot. Where the red dot, the boom, bro. You need to look down. Like, where the red dot, the boom. It's you, homie. You got handed a flawed roster, thrown into high pressure waters. And now you being talked about in terms of inexperience and fit. Then, hey, bro, that's been the first signs. That's the setup for the fall. So when everything come crashing down, GM who created this mess gonna walk away clean and just hire somebody else. Hire another person in there. It was Teaspoon. It was Tyler. If they name start with a T, it's terrible. That's all I'm gonna say. It was Teresa. It was Tyler. If the next coach name start with a T, bro, just walk away. That's all I'm gonna say. It weaponizes selective information and keeps the people truly responsible out the line of fire, and that's dangerous. Players almost never play hard for Tyler. Okay. Look, so Eric, riddle me this: tell me about the time you seen Tyler coaching hard for the players. So you want me to play hard? I want to see you coach hard. Get it? We seen him throw his little tantrum out there. We've seen him get a couple texts this year, but I'm not buying that as coaching hard for me. I'm not buying that as having my back. But y'all tell me, let me know what y'all see. Jeff Pagliuca sabotaged Angel and Camilla the next 2 years. Sonya Citron should have been with the Sky Scrapers. Hey, listen, I wonder if Citron every day she show up at Washington just be like, "Thank you so much. I'm gonna just keep shooting these threes and keep scoring and be. I'm so happy to be here with Kiki because I could have been somewhere else." So while we like, dang, could have missed, Sonya Citron is like, thank goodness, because I don't believe that we're talking about Sonya Citron in the way that we're talking about Sonya Citron right now. That she's a Chicago Sky.
Yeah, I believe the same thing. I believe she made it perfectly clear in the draft process, because they go through a draft process, talking to the different GMs and stuff like that. She probably told that dude, "Man, I can get on the next plane to Europe before I come to your raggedy organization." So they went on. Yeah, you got to be stupid if you think these players don't talk. And it's not like it's thousands of them. It's only 156 of them. And 30 of the top ones was probably talking about you like a dog at the Unrivaled. And then 27 of them that used to be in your organization that dogged you out. People putting you putting out hit pieces on the players, and the players is putting former players putting out hit pieces on you and your organization. It's just messy. It's messy.
Yeah, White Wolf. Tell me what you mean about get Angel playing like she did at LSU. Because I think the way Angel has to play for Chicago Sky to win is as a point forward. So let me know. I think based on how they currently constructed. But Lil, why is scapegoating such an effective tool for protecting power-side sports organizations? And what are the long-term effects on players and coaches when they become a face of a team's failures instead of its leadership?
You know what? Like I said, it shifts the blame. But players and coaches who become scapegoats, they suffer long-term lasting damage to their reputations and their careers. And they face increased scrutiny, which leads to mental health challenges and limited future, opportunities. And meanwhile, these front office systemic issues, they remain undressed, because what I see happening with the Sky, that should have been addressed years ago. You've been doing this for 20 years and your results haven't really changed. So if the organization culture doesn't improve, it just perpetuates the cycle of failure and mistrust. It's very damaging to both the players and unfortunately the organization. But it's like the ownership just can't see it, and I feel like it's partly the fans' fault. You can't change what you tolerate, and you cannot tolerate something with your dollars. There shouldn't be a season ticket holder nowhere in Chicago for that particular team with what they have produced and put on that floor. I wouldn't get in $5.50. Nothing. And then for you to be as arrogant as that person is, sending people out to tell the fans, we gonna keep our jobs. There's nothing you can do about it. This, that, and the other. Well, it's something I can do about it. I can keep my money in my pocket to include my $22 hot dog and drink money. I mean, you don't have to support them. If you choose to support them, they're going to continue to give you mess. See, I'm going to tell you what the mistake is. This is not football and this is not baseball in Chicago. It's not neither one. People support a baseball team 100 years, but Wrigley Field, that's a fan experience they really paying for. So they, win or lose, great. Same thing with the Bears. The Bears, win or lose, are a great fan experience. You don't really have that in basketball. Not like
so. That. I got a question. So then who is the Chicago White Sox? What is which team is the baseball team of the city? Do y'all get behind the Cubs or the White Sox?
The Cubs on the north side. That the
White Cubbies, okay.
Yeah, the White Sox, you only gonna fill up that park if you winning. If you ain't winning,
so how do they stay? So then how do they stay in business? How do they stay in Chicago? How do they keep being the Sox?
Well, the Sox draw just enough, enough revenues to keep them in business. Okay. But the real experience in baseball is going to, and I've been to Wrigley Field. It's going to Wrigley Field. Wrigley Field is a really unique.
So Wrigley Field is what? Is that McCovey Cove?
Yeah, they got. Everything is around, and they on the other side of downtown. They're on the north side of downtown, and the White Sox are on the south side of downtown. And that, they have set up Wrigleyville. That's what they call it, Wrigleyville, as a real fan experience. You got fans come from all over the world that come to Wrigley, that part of town. The way they have that kind of experience. So the White Sox.
Is there a way to partner the Sky with the Cubs?
I mean, you had both Reese and Angel went to the Cubs game, threw the ball out and all that kind of carrying on, and I think part of Haley Van Liff coming to Chicago, was to maybe draw that north side crowd, to the south side.
Okay.
Because the skies on the they're on the south end of
because some of
too.
these organizations may have to partner with a team outside their sport to be able to get to the real success that they can have.
Let me give you 4 people that the Sky could have easily partnered with: the Chicago Housing Authority, Chicago Park District, Chicago Public Schools, and the military. We have 656,000 military personnel in our area. And they have kind of done them type of things, but part of their problem is they targeting a certain conservative crowd, and unfortunately them people, they not coming past Madison. I'm sorry, they just not doing it. And so you really wasting your time. What you need to do is get to the west and south sides of the city and just target that as an audience. The people not gonna leave Wrigley Field to come watch the Sky play. They just not gonna do that. And this is summertime too.
So I think I went by Wintrust when I was in the city. How far is Wrigley from Wintrust?
Ooh, it's a ways, because Wintrust is right there on Cermak. And then you got you talking about going all the way downtown, crossing Madison where you get north, and then Wrigley Field, it's way up north. That whole little conservative group and stuff. You want to really market.
What do you mean the Cubs are backed by the city of Chicago? Sorry, Lou, I didn't mean to cut you off. What do you mean by that? So the city of Chicago don't back the Sox and the Bears in the Sky? What do you mean?
No. They well, right now the Bears are having some problems politically with the city of Chicago because they want to move the stadium to the suburbs, because you got these people, Friends of the Park, some organization. They don't want to put a new stadium on the lakefront, man. I seen those rim dishes. I'm like, shoot, put that stadium right there. They didn't even want to build the presidential library. They told him, hell no, get off the lake. We got a special lakefront, but it's politically protected. Now, when we had Mayor Lightfoot, when she was the mayor, she had very close ties with the Sky, and so I know the new mayor. He has come to. Last year, you had everybody coming to the game, all kind of politicians. It just seems like whatever was going on last year, they don't want it there. And I don't know if it was just that it was too loud. I think it was too much visibility. They don't, you ain't got the celebrities there. I mean, they just, when you talk about killjoy and taking the fun out of something, they took the fun and chopped it down. I think they want to keep it quiet and look conservative, but you ain't in that part of, you're not in that part of town. To keep it quiet and conservative. You right there, on the south end of the downtown, and then you got some rocking and rolling going on over there. They're not too far from White Sox Park. So I whatever their little strategy is, I don't know what it consists of, but they don't seem to be. I don't know what they're trying to change. All I know is last year was a lot of fun. I was at the games. I'm kicking it, spending money, hopping Ubers, and I was wilding out, bad shirts, and man, this year I barely turned the TV on, watch them. They done killed the whole vibe.
Jeremy say it was quiet when they won the championship. Look at that parade. Did you go to that parade? Do you remember when y'all won the championship?
Yes, I remember we won the championship. Did I go to the parade? No, I didn't go to the parade. I think I was at work.
Okay.
But
it sounded like they hired some. You sound y'all funny.
But they kind of took the parade route. Kind of took the parade route out of where they should have been. It was so shocking. I think that they won. Because it wasn't like it was a real build up to them winning. It was just bam.
It was an accident.
I think the Suns had some injuries to Teresa and I think BG was hurt or
Right
something.
place at the right time, baby. Right place at the right time.
But Coppin was attractive, and they were starting to attract a build up from from Candace coming home as the hometown here, even though she's from the suburbs too. But I have like no idea what it is they trying to do besides gentrify the team. So you try to gentrify some of the key positions. I kind of understand that. You trying to build a little Fever replica, but you can't build it. Caitlin Clark is not an everywhere. You just can't bring in somebody that's her color and think that's going to be the the thing that attracts people to cut. I have just no idea, given their backgrounds, what exactly they're trying to do. But I know one thing: they seem to enjoy instability because that's been a pattern with them for all the time that they've been in business. So some companies are like that. They chaos sales.
Any updates on the new practice facility? They got the walls up. Any updates on the new practice facility for the Sky?
You know what? I haven't been by there. Last time I went by there, it wasn't a brick put up. I mean, I'm not purposely, going by there. They claim that they're gonna have it up. I think in April of 26. They supposed to have it up. And I don't really like the timing of that because you're gonna, you got free agency happening in January. You get the shit up in December so that you can get some free agents in here. Because then what is gonna be a fake out, And then with all this mess going on now, is that still going? Is that going to attract people to come to your city? You gotta change. You got to have people that I don't understand why they didn't. Select somebody like Swain Cash to be the GM with all, the experience that she has and the fact that she could, probably attract people to come here. I mean, the way they see you, when somebody see you mistreating another person, you got to be out your mind to think, oh, I need to run over there and be a part of that mistreatment.
Nobody does. Nobody does that. Nobody does that.
Not from a human standpoint. It just don't. It don't make no sense. And you're not hiding what you trying to do to destroy this young woman. You look like deliberately trying to sabotage her. The way you sabotage the coach. The way you sabotage Kennedy. It's just a ridiculous pattern with you. That makes me think that you are a narcissist that thrives on control, and you want everything to be, you like, because narcissists, they enjoy smoking you out. Now, if you a soft peddler, you got a good heart and stuff, you run into a narcissist, boy, they'll cook your ass for years, and enjoy every minute of it, no matter how much harm, they do to you. These are some really kind of strange people. But I'm just I just don't, it's just hard to watch. It's hard to watch with all the effort I've seen that young lady put in. Cardoso, Cardoso is the type of person that looks, she can't avoid wearing her emotions on her sleeve. And she looks totally distraught, unhappy, this, that, and the other. And, she might just jump up, call the president of Brazil and just boogie on out of there. You know what I'm saying? Forget this all together. People with options are not there. People that don't have options, that's the place they can land, But I can't see nobody wanting to. This is what the sale gonna be. We got all these free agents gonna be free. We gonna be able to get players. And we building something here and don't break this up and this, that, and the other. They still gonna have the same clown show going. You're doing the same. It's just gonna be the same sales job because when you're a snake oil salesman, that's all you know how to do. Sell snake oil. I don't know. If you don't change, I don't see how you can change your position if you're not really willing to, to change yourself. I just believe that they should have sat down with those young ladies, Camilla, and if they wasn't gonna keep Kennedy, then her and Reese, and they should have told her, look, we don't like the performance that Teaspoon put up, and we, our initial thing is to terminate her, and I want to know how you all feel about it, and I tell you what, if you two willing to keep her and allow her to develop your career, we'll give her another year. But if y'all don't produce, then it's adios. I believe those young ladies would have respected that more, as opposed to getting a call telling about, we made a decision, and you didn't include them in the decision. You just like, we don't care what you think or nothing. That's not like a partnership.
You got a better attitude than I got. Cause my thing was, for the ones that was complaining, we didn't want you here anyway. So we gonna keep Teaspoon, and you didn't like her going on. What's the place for you? That was my thing. Go ahead, because who was the ones that complained? Izzy, she found her. She landed someplace. I don't even know if she complained, but she landed someplace. Dana, you landed someplace. Marina, you landed someplace. Who else had a complaint? Lindsay, you had something to say. I don't know, but you landed someplace, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody okay? Good. Move around then. Mm-hmm. Now I have to figure out who wants to be here. I really think that even without a practice facility, and I know people was like, yeah, man, damn, Angel went out and she asked Gabby to come, and Gabby was like, no, I would never come back to Chicago. That's fine. But in my heart of hearts, I really believe that if free agency hits and you like, hey, we got the potential of, a facility being finished by the end of December 2025 or the middle of 26. But standing over here is Camila Cardoso, a Chennedy Carter, Angel Reese, Teresa Weatherspoon, and all of the just breath of fresh air that came with them last year. It was ours. It was the culture was there, the music was there, hip hop was there, social media was there. Everybody was engaging. It was a perfect mix of what an organization needs to look like to be successful. It was almost an early look at like what Valhalla turned into, right? Mm-hmm. When you put some money behind it, right? You can sell out 18,000 seats a night if the organization gets behind it. I think that you would have saw some. I think that you would have saw some free agents maybe say, you know what, yeah, man, I don't know about the front office, but Teaspoon, you got my back. Angel, you ain't for no games. Camilla, I know you'll knock them down. If it get to be a real problem around here, I'm gonna give it a shot. Mm-hmm. I'm on a 1-year deal anyway, 2 years at the most, because we got a CBA coming up. So what would it hurt? It could be fun. I think that people would have took a chance on Chicago, but with the way that they left it standing, broken, and it looked like the gate was kicked in, and the tumbleweed blowing through the parking lot and shit. You know what I'm saying? Just Teaspoon gone. It look all cold and uninvited. Nobody wanted to go.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to go after that. But they made it like that. Angel even said she doesn't complain about anything. I think they all would have stayed and made it like, yeah, because if nothing else, shit, man, Angel will get us a gym to play in. Angel will rent out a gym for the year or something. See, that's the thing. If you let Angel really get out there and work, it's somebody that'll partner with Angel to give y'all a facility. Mm-hmm. To be able to say, I gave y'all a facility. If it ain't nothing but, Monday through Friday from 5 to 9. It's open for y'all. It's just y'all. I don't get it. Do you think the culture of Chicago is permeating the roster where it seemed like it's every woman for themselves, where everyone was looking out for their own self? No, I don't. I just told you that wasn't the case last year. That was a narrative that people pushed, but I don't think that was the case last year.
Yeah, they had some building blocks.
That girl went to practice last year and got her shoes stole. I never even had my shoes stole at junior high practice. Do you hear me?
Are you talking about
as a pro?
The shields?
Yeah, as a pro. Think about that. She went to practice and came back out, her shoes was gone. I practiced at the Y. You threw your shoes in the cubby hole. They wasn't gone. I'm a pro. Came back and I'm walking out barefoot. Stop it. Angel and Camilla have to be discouraged. They play hard, but can I get the support of the GM to bring in available quality players? I don't know if they should be discouraged or pissed off. Don't be discouraged. Be mad. Mm-hmm. Get with your agent. Make some demands.
Yep.
Use
Don't
your
sit
leverage.
there and take it. Don't sit there and take it. That's the thing I don't want to see. You know, don't believe that you can't do nothing about it. You can change what you can't accept. You know, there's ways of going about getting gone.
See, the one thing that I was excited about Chicago was, and y'all go back, y'all go back and what? Y'all go back after they did that, the tackies and the shower curtain up in the background and the multi-purpose room table for the announcement. I said, man, I can't wait till they give these black women just a Dollar Tree budget, because we'll put some stuff together, homie. We'll put some stuff together. We'll figure out some stuff. Well, I ain't, what you got in your, all they want us to have is some hamburgers. But I got some ribs down in the freezer that I've been meaning to cook, and they gonna go bad. So we gonna bring the ribs. And what you got? A little chicken. Bring some chicken. And what you got? A little tater salad. Okay. And we still got the helium machine because we didn't do the little daddy party. So we gonna bring little daddy. We gonna bring little daddy helium machine and blow up a few balloons and get the streamers and get them Christmas lights, the all white Christmas lights. We gonna put them up and light some stuff up. You hear me? Do you hear me?
Yeah, we ain't no stranger making a shack a home.
No, hell no. So I was just excited to see how they gonna piece this thing together. All this creativity. You gonna let Angel get out there and get in the street? Somebody gonna give y'all a facility. I told y'all, if y'all would just go to the Taste of Chicago and say, hey, we need 22 meals, 22 restaurants in Chicago would have stood up and said, I got a meal for the team, 13, 15. How many of them is it? You gonna put my name up on the Wintrust screen? You gonna give a promo code to say Sky 10 so they get 10% off when they come get some from Mama's Mean Greens and Sides?
Yeah.
They ain't want to do no work. That's how I know they on bullshit. Because they didn't have to spend no money to get the stuff that they wanted to have. They didn't have to spend no money to get. Who hungry? Who hungry? That's not. It's black people right now. All you got to hear is they got to hear somebody hungry. Who hungry? They go to fixing plates and they go to fixing plate. Who hungry? Because I can't let nobody be hungry around here. Who needs something to eat? They ain't said. They ain't told nobody that. You need someplace to practice. They ain't letting you shoot. Well, we got this basketball over here at the church that ain't nobody using. Y'all can come down here and have this be your place. The Chicago Sky they not even in Chicago to make no deals. Y'all just told me they don't even live in the city. Ain't no way in the world. They done told the city, anybody that with all of the businesses in that city, they ain't told nobody they needed no help. Eat after the game, avoid the itis. You know what I'm saying?
They pretending. The great pretenders.
Meanwhile, Kai Copper was talking about she had Grubhub set up and DoorDash set up to get her meals before the game. I looked up and I forget what college player it was. I had 2 plates in front of them. A steak, a lobster, some shrimp. They eat good in college. Okay, see, you that auntie gonna feed somebody. You gonna feed anybody. I'm that auntie that the tech gonna work. What you mean? The lights ain't on? We gonna make the thing dance. It's gonna be we gonna have a whole movie play for the game. What you mean? An entrance? Yeah. Somebody, it's a skill set everywhere. Then besides all of that, you got a team full of college graduates. What's their skill set? See, when you make people feel involved, what do they want to give back? How can I pour into it? How can I make this a better experience? I want my people to come. But they sitting up there in the room twirling their fingers talking about some money. Ain't nobody asked you about shit. Where the $10 at? I'm gonna take $10 and put together a party you ain't never seen before. And I might have some change. Because once I get out there and tell some people what I'm doing, they gonna want to be a part. I put your name on the t-shirt. I put your name up on the skybox. Ain't nobody sitting in the boxes anyway. I'll let 22 of y'all just come watch the games in the boxes. I ain't sold them. You get one game in the box. I got one skybox I keep for just whoever is donating something to the game. Come watch the game. Come be involved. Y'all told me they ain't even in Chicago. I can see what the hell the problem is now.
Hanging on the outskirts.
Here's the thing. You don't have to give them no. Here's the thing, Anthony. I don't want to hear nothing about the city being hesitant to give an arena. I don't need an arena. I would have been happy if Chicago would have gave $100,000 to every one of the teams, to everybody on the team, like Las Vegas did.
Yeah.
But y'all ain't built a relationship with the city. How many times y'all been down to the schools, signed some autographs, pulled up at a high school game, went to the state championships, sent Angel and Camilla down to do anything, partnership, anything. But Las Vegas keeps showing up for the Aces because the Aces keep showing up for Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Asia just out all over Las Vegas, giving away shoes and taking pictures with kids and shit. Not because of Las Vegas, but because of Asia. Barbie night was pathetic. I don't even get me started on Barbie night. Don't even get me started. And we ain't gonna hold y'all here. We know we got basketball coming up, so I'm gonna wrap this thing up. You know, the whole organization, GM, everybody, they under fire from paying fans after back-to-back losing difficult seasons. They're not owning the failure. They shifting the blame on the coaches, players, primarily Black women, keeping alive a pattern of scapegoating that shields those in power. It's not just a Chicago problem, but it's an easy example to be able to share because it's so blatant and it's so in your face and it's so right now. I don't have to tell you about something that happened this one time at band camp. I can show you right now what's going on in real life. And it mirrors a wider sports media trend where Black women athletes and coaches carry a disproportionate share of the criticism. Real structured leadership failures go untouched. That's just business as usual. We'll write that off. We'll start a new business. Go bankrupt on that one, and we'll fill out the DBA papers. We'll be doing business at the Chicago Era tomorrow, because that's how other people do. Bad calls in drafting, free agency, have fueled the team's instability, but you barely know it from the coverage. Media rarely questions the GM. They ain't asking them for the ownership at all. Instead, they amplify the narratives about attitude problems and point fingers at the very people that's carrying the most weight, the people that is doing the damn work. The media echo chambers reinforces systemic marginalization and that basically lets those at the top dodge accountability season after season, game after game, week after week. How does media's focus on blaming Black women coaches and players rather than holding front office leadership accountable affect the perception and treatment of Black women overall in professional sports?
Well, you take the most vulnerable person, the person with the least amount of power, the person who's not able to push back, the person that's trying to quietly just stay in the game, be grateful, for the opportunity. And then you just crush them, and you put the heat and pressure on them. You notice that they never hand you nothing set up for success. They always hand you failure, and then when you don't pull off some miracle on 34th Street, you the first one to get canned, and then the way you are criticized, just destroys you to a point that you're gonna see Black women just not even wanna, take the chance. Unfortunately, we the most vulnerable people out here. We most subject to unfair criticism, harsher judgment. So it's just I'm gonna pick on you, and I'm gonna leave you whole in the bag, which is what they do. They don't hand you a tight roster, a good feeding system, quality players, and then just tell you to go to work. They always hand you an absolute mess, and then tell you to go out there and perform a miracle, and then do it quickly, or you won't be here. And then and they constantly get away with it. And I just believe until we build a parallel system, that our label can filter into, it's just not going to be no change. You're not going to change the mind of somebody with that type of mentality, that sees you as a commodity. And I think it'll just go on and on.
Absolutely. Hey, when we get into these conversations, we come from a place of uh, moving things forward and a place of being able to educate and share resources. So before we get out of here, I want to make sure that I share just a little backstory on some of the resources that were used to put together this live and uh, the recorded piece. Scoop Jackson's Imperfect Union. Well, he lays it out there. Chicago's media and sports organizations work hand in hand to control the narrative. And for the Sky, that means management spins stories to deflect blame, and black stars like Angel Reese get picked apart over minor issues instead of front office mistakes. Framework to help black athletes. That was Malcolm J. Myler's empowerment framework. Is a blueprint for black athletes. One second. Uh, so Malcolm J. Myler's empowerment framework, that's a blueprint for black athletes. It's built on 3 pillars: tell your own truth, create your own platforms where you own the narrative, and help fans build the media literacy to spot bias and reject the trash stories designed to tear you down. Angel Reese, living proof of this framework in action, y'all. Uh, I think for fans, Myler's framework is a call to stop feeding the mainstream sensationalism machine in a push to uh, invest energy, clicks, and dollars into black-led independent outlets that give the full story. And I think that's how you counter the smear campaigns, kill the lazy hot takes, and build a culture that values black women athletes as whole people and not just controversy clips or sound bites. So, Leo, as we get ready to wrap up, how can black women athletes effectively use athlete-led platforms to shift power dynamics and control their public narratives?
Well, we have to athletic led platforms, personal social media, podcasts similar to what Angel has with Unapologetic, and then supporting independent media that's gonna share authentic stories without that filter, And so if you own the spaces that you can bypass these traditional gatekeepers, challenge these harmful narratives and build direct connections with the fans, that'll help you shift power away from the biased institution and towards the athletes themselves. And so, we want to encourage you all to support all the independent media that's going to give you the whole story and do it in a way that's honest, and not manipulated.
Oh yeah. What role does media literacy play in helping fans support black athletes against biased coverage, and how can this literacy be widely promoted?
Media literacy equip fans to recognize bias, just like we telling you these stories now. And you get to see, manipulation and incomplete stories that the mainstream coverage enables, rather than tell you the truth. Because the bottom line is it's paid media,
Mm-hmm.
and so if we promoting this literacy right here, education campaigns, we want to amplify black-led media and encourage conversations that reveal how media shapes perception, empowering fans to demand fair and accurate representation. I have told you all to read some of the books. Brainwash, we brought that to you early. We brought another book to you that was written, as I think, in the 70s, but it just shows you how media has been commandeered to, to support power. Those types of things. And like any questions that you all have about how people being treated and stuff, just put it in Google. You'll find that there are white papers, studies, because this is nothing new. This is just a continuing cycle. And if we don't educate the public on the politics in sports, it'll just continue on and on and on. And you'll never find your mind at peace. We have to help these athletes reclaim their stories and stop entertaining bullshit. That's the. You're not that stupid that you hear stuff and then you oh yeah, that's the way. everybody knows what's going on. You know what kind of nation you live in, and you know what kind of bullshit the media has pulled on many of people. You know, you have to stop falling for the okie doke, and please stop, repeating that, type of nonsense when you hear this. It's some stories I come across in my timeline. I'm not getting ready to click on. I'm not getting ready to entertain the nonsense. I just hit them 3 dots. I'm not interested. I'm not getting ready to go out here and tell, oh, so-and-so said that we got a gossiping society. Love the gossip. But, I'm not pushing no nonsense.
Listen, if y'all tell me if the source of your breaking news is Facebook, let's move on. Okay. If the source of your breaking news is Facebook, and it got something to do with, like, I seen on Facebook, Angel or Caitlin, if ESPN ain't broke it, if TMZ ain't broke it, if you don't see it on WNBA, stop it, y'all. Stop it. I see on Facebook, who page was it? And it'd be like some dumb boy. What? Who page? You don't even know who that is. Why? Yeah, come on now. Come on. We gotta use our thinking caps. This day and age, the more AI come up, the more tech is available for us, the less we are using our thinking caps. People, please get 3 sources. If the source is Fox News, keep it moving. Do a double check. Do a triple check. I don't know if they still teach that in school, but get more sources. Check your sources. If the only place you can find it on Facebook, more than likely it's probably clickbait. More than likely it's probably fake news.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind, y'all. Keep that in mind. And then you know what I'm saying, as you out here moving around, and you come across these channels like Cess Sports, Rob the Man Media, Welcome to HDI TV, I Am Zo Media. You coming around along these channels where you feel like, hey, we getting the information that we want from here. This is a good source. Subscribe, share, support, and push that information out so that people are getting that information. The Cess Sports Fam is the only place I take my news. The WNBA official channel. Appreciate that, White Wolf. Yeah, get more than 3 sources if you need to. Yeah, cite the sources. We find to do that too. Yeah, we find to do that too. Yeah, we hear about the receipts.
Mm-hmm.
Leo, what kind of call to action you got for us?
Well, it's really simple but powerful. You have to demand accountability from sports media and from these team owners, and don't settle for one-sided stories without proof. Support these athletes' controlled narratives where players hold the mic and shape their own story, and stay connected to platforms like Cess Talk Sports, BY's Polysports Tea Time that center the athlete and unpack the politics behind the game, because there's politics behind us. And join us in building Respect Her Game advocacy group. When you post positive content about Black female athletes, use the hashtag Respect Her Game and stand in solidarity with these sisters, because the sports arena is the frontline civil rights battleground of this century, and the media is a weapon that's targeting Black athletes and Black women just across the board. And Malcolm X once said, we need to go through a complete re-education to win this fight, and that's exactly what we're doing here. Arming you with a playbook so that you can challenge any narrative that you come across.
Yeah, and if there's ways that y'all think that y'all can connect and support, hit me up. Connect us at cesstalksports.com. Get in the Discord. I'm gonna work with Key to get a Respect Her Game advocacy group room built out there for sharing information and being able to talk in safe spaces. So if you're not in the mention yet but interested, hit me here on the connect at cesstalksports.com email. But we're taking this fight like to the streets. It's a real movement. We want people to be seeing Respect Her Game as much as they're seeing pay them what they owe. They need to know that the fans support as well, and we just as serious about standing on all 10 toes about making sure that they get paid what they owe and that the books get open. Is the app for players or for players and fans? Discord is for fans. What we talking about right now is just Cess Talk Sports, BY's Polysports Tea Time. resources and tools that we have out there. So that's just Cess Talk Sports Mansion right there. But this has been another tea time political throwdown. I know we don't just sip the tea, we brew it strong and serve it piping hot. Who does the Fever need to pick up? They picked up Odyssey, Doc. So I think they'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
I think they picked up Odyssey, so I think they'll stay there. But I'm gonna talk some hoops here later on this evening. But this right here has been another tea time political throwdown. I told y'all we don't just sip the tea, we serve it piping hot. Sports, it's never just about the games. It's always about the stories we tell, the systems we expose, and the political education we bring straight to you. If you're ready to keep learning and support the players we love, hey, check out our recorded Poly Sports broadcast. We're gonna be moving our broadcast to some written blogs too. So Lil's written some stuff out, so we'll be getting that up on the website. How will Sims play tonight? I want your analysis of the game. Even Odyssey couldn't save Chicago. So here I said it earlier on the live with Rob. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time. Who's going live to discuss it? So who's going live to discuss what? So you saying Odyssey's not on the team?
Or not playing?
I don't know. Courtney, you got to tell me. She's going live tonight to discuss it. Let me know what you're talking about there. We dive deep into Black women's sports and the politics they face. Stories mainstream media they don't share. They don't got no interest in sharing. In this series coming up, episode 4 will be economic gaslighting. We're gonna break down disguised exploitation of Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, and economic gaslighting of the Chicago Sky fan base. Y'all sign up to get the notifications so you don't miss it. Thursday we will be finishing. We'll be going back into our CBA discussion. So we will be having our discussion around fight for agency and equity. Cess Talks, I think I'm gonna show you. I think you said you discussed the Fever game. I'm gonna talk some hoops later on tonight. I'll be back to talk hoops. So here's the thing about Odyssey, and this is what I'll say about Odyssey. Odyssey is a heck of a basketball player. Well, Odyssey is secure in her job. Odyssey plays within the team and makes her teams better. When Odyssey is playing on hardship contracts, 10-day contracts, 7-day contracts, Odyssey can go off the rails and make it about Odyssey doing enough to keep Odyssey's lights on. And so you can go away from making the team better and making sure that her stat line looks like she needs to be signed again. And so, I've been saying the same thing since last year. Why Odyssey can't keep no job? Every time I see her get on the floor, it's like she can make a difference. She can score. No denying the kid can play. Flat out, kid can play. Why she can't keep a job is the part I can't figure out. They always willing to pick her up, but they never really don't nobody ever want to keep her a long time. I don't understand that. Somebody that knows a little bit more, let me know. But that's what I see with Odyssey. But y'all, hit that subscribe button, share Poly Sports Tea Time with your crew, drop your comments. Want every one of y'all, bring 10 people back to the conversation. Come back for more Poly Sports truth, history, strategy. Learn how we can help our athletes win on and off the court. Until then, y'all, keep your eyes open, keep your mind sharp, T ready. Stay tuned, talk soon. I'm such your favorite IT with Uncle Tendencies, Political Lil. Y'all know what it is.